Hi, this is the intermission number 3 from Cosmic Harmony Unveiled, and I'm going to talk about the power of our belief in the creation of our reality and experiencing the creation of our reality, and how um, tarot and oracle cards work. So I've been asked a lot, like, how they work. People have different ways of understanding how they work. But I'm going to tell you a quick story how I really got started in it. So I have like dabbled in it before and had some powerful readings. Like my first marriage, I had a reading that actually helped me get out of that marriage. And but where I really got into it was the day that I decided to divorce my second husband, because we had decided to get a divorce, and I was on Facebook scrolling, sitting in my car, crying and smoking, and I came across a daily tarot reading in one of the groups I was on in Facebook, and it basically talked about what had happened and that I was going to decide to get a divorce that day, and that's what I decided to do. And then like kind of gave me direction on where to go, because it's like you decide to get divorced. Well, at least this is how it was for me, and I'm like panicky. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, because all of a sudden my life's completely going to be different, and I don't know what to do. So anyway, for a couple weeks I spent most of my time crying, being what I felt like was worthless. And but like I didn't really believe in like a god or anything, but it was like I was like begging for answers from the universe, like, and begging to heal me and take the pain away. I don't want to feel it. And anyway, but I kept reading these readings, and they kept talking about what I was thinking and what was happening. And so, and like gave some guidance on like where to go, like kind of like, if you talk to a counselor or something, you kind of get guidance on where to go. But anyway, so at one point I started thinking, um let's see, well, I started thinking like, I wonder if they have like live tarot readings on YouTube. So I started watching, well, I searched on YouTube and I saw that there was some. So I started watching them, and I was just like blown away, because they corresponded with what was going on in my life, and then same thing, gave me like guidance. And at first, when I first started listening to them, not every single one of them would be like right on or talk about my life. It was like more, most of them but not all of them, kind of thing. And but the more that I listened to them, the more accurate and dead on they got, and it was like they were reading my mind. And I got to the point where um I just expected it. I expected whatever tarot reading I picked up to listen to was going to be about my situation, and that's how it was. Well, what happened though was that I was going through a lot of pain through like my divorce, and it would say, like, the tarot cards would say something that I wanted or was coming in or whatever, something that I wanted to happen in my life or whatever, and I would get excited and be hoping for it to come in, and not realizing that my excitement and hope for it to come in was actually pushing it away. Because um well, basically because, in hoping for it to come in and being excited about it coming in, my underlying belief was that I didn't have it. And our reality is created from our subconscious beliefs mostly subconscious. And so then I would, it's like I would eventually, like, I wouldn't get what I was wanting, okay? So then I would get like this attitude. I'd be like, fuck it, like, whatever, it's not happening. And then the tarot card readings would start talking about missed opportunity, this happened, now it's this. It would start saying how I believed then, okay? And so and one of the things that I noticed is, like, just whoever I would prominently had on my mind for whatever reason, their sign would show up in my readings. And if I was afraid of something, whatever that fear was would show up in my readings. And so I kept listening to them, but I started noticing like a bigger pattern. I'll give you an example, okay, of one of my readings. In one of my readings, there was a King of Pentacles, which is like someone who's got a lot of money, like a person that basically is a self-made person with a lot of money. They built themselves up from scratch, okay? And that person, it was showing that character needing to let go of a past character that was the Chariot, which Chariot represents Cancer, in like Cancer in the tarot cards, okay? And it was showing like, holding on to the past, holding on to the coins, all that stuff, right? And when that shows up in a reading, it's like the energy's stuck, okay? And it showed that there was going to be a tower coming in to make this person let go of the past so that they can heal and move, like, let the energy flow, okay? And of course, I could see this story around me and the people that I knew, okay? And so I told my friend, when I, saw the readings, I was like, well, I looked internally to see what I saw on the outside, on the inside, okay? And what I basically understood was that I want to be a self-made person, and I want to be free of this debt and like money issues and all this stuff, and have whatever, I want. Well, freedom, basically, okay? But anyway, so I was like, here I am holding on to my delivery driver vehicle, driving around in these, because the Chariot also represents car, okay? So here I am driving around in this car, afraid to put my job down and go after the Empress and the Queen of Wands, which was over there, in the direction that they needed to go, because that was the Empress and the Queen of Wands represented creativity and passion to get basically to become the King of Pentacles, is how this reading was showing. And so I was like, okay, so I need to stop working, stop driving my car, let go of the car, go do the things that I know I need to do creatively and passionately, because I love it, right? And I can become that King of Pentacles, but I'm too afraid, because then how am I going to pay my rent? Okay. And so I told my friend that. And then I made a joke to another friend about getting in a car wreck. And 3 hours later, I wrecked my car and I couldn't drive it. And so that was my tower. It basically ripped it out of my hands, okay? So I, at that moment, was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about getting another vehicle so I can continue to do what I know intuitively is not going to get me to where I want to go. And so I went and I took the time and started doing the creative things and the things that I'm passionate about. And but that's just an example. So like whatever situation I'm seeing on the outside of in my life, I can look and, if I'm aware enough, find the situation on the inside of me somewhere, because the pattern that is resonating from me will attract those situations on the outside of in my world around me. Okay, because it's a mirror reflecting me to me so that I can see. And so okay, so I want to talk about belief now. Okay, um you can choose to be basically oblivious to why things are the way they are, and believe that everything's accidental, there's no pattern in anything, and that you have no power. And when things happen to you, it's the world's fault and everything around you and everyone else's fault. And continue to experience the world that way. And you might be enjoying it, because there's a lot of people that enjoy that, and that's fine, and there's no reason to judge that, you know. But for me, it's like the blue pill or the red pill in the matrix, and I have like a drive to understand everything and know everything. But anyway, so I had my name removed from the Mormon LDS Church in 2005. But for the last 15 years, when I felt like I needed extra help throughout the years, I would go to an active priesthood member in that church and ask for a blessing. And if they didn't know my story, they would often be like perplexed and want to know why I wanted a blessing from someone in a church with teachings that I didn't believe. And my answer was, because I believe in your belief. And it's like that person and millions of LDS people in the world believe that people who have the priesthood hold a special power from God that gives them like authority to bless someone with this special power. And you know, it's basically gives them blessings, so they have blessings and healing and things in their life. Okay, and I believe in the power of belief, and so I believe that by them believing they have that power, they can use that power. And the story about what, you know, what they tell themselves as to why that makes them believe that is irrelevant to me. It doesn't matter what their story is, in my understanding of how belief works to shape our reality. So I've said in my other videos, and I can put a link down below, but like the double slit experiment, it's shown that consciousness affects reality. But what does that really mean? So basically, in the experiment, the way that they chose to measure was based on a presupposed belief that they had. It was the belief under the question that they asked. So whatever that belief was under the question they asked, the experiment would show a particle or a wave. Okay, and so it would also show, the other thing was that the result, what they got, the result affected the past. It would change the past, like reorganize itself basically to fit the belief in the current moment. It was kind of like time travel in a sense. So the universe is full of energy, like with infinite amount of possibilities. Okay, when you look at like particles, it's like before it's a particle, it's a wave, and it's a wave of like infinite possibilities, right? And basically, every photon in the universe like contains all the information in the universe. It all reflects off of each other and communicates non-locally, meaning instantaneously with each other. And so there's a flow to it because it all is operating like as one flowing thing, so that like the world basically looks consistent, okay? And the world, the universe, it's consistent. It's not really creepy weird. Well, there's a lot of creepy weird things, but you see what I'm saying. And but what that means when you think about it is that we have access to the entire universe and every possibility at every moment, right here, right now. Like you have access, I have access to it. So how do we tap into it or whatever? But it's just basically it's a matter of being aware that we do. And when we are aware of it, it's no longer a question in our mind. It's not something we hope for. It's not something we want. It's not something like someday. It's not, it's not like, I understand, but how come I can't see? It's kind of like walking on the ground. So when you take steps, you don't hope that the ground is underneath each step and question if it's going to be there and hope it's going to be there. You don't think about it because you just assume that it is. You don't wonder if there's a foot. Like you just go. I mean, so long as you have a foot, But I'm just saying, like, that's what it's like when you become aware of it. It's like we assume, it's an assumption that we make without consciously having to think that there is one, okay? And so we don't hope for it. We just already believe it's there without question. So with that, if you're hoping and wanting, you're actually believing. The underlying belief is that you don't have it. It's not there, and it's not going to be there. And maybe that's the game that you want to play. Like maybe that you like the struggle. It's like people play sports, and it wouldn't be as fun if they just divided themselves into teams and say, okay, this one won, without the struggle. So maybe that's something that you want. But I think the point is that we can decide more where we want to put our struggle. Do we want our struggle to be like some health concern, or like people getting murdered, or what is it that you want your struggle to be? And we actually have more power over deciding what we want to experience than we think we do. Let's see. So the other thing I was going to mention is that, like, I think of physical reality kind of like those Russian nesting dolls, stacked inside of one another, okay? And each one of those dolls can represent like a dimension. You've heard of them talking about different dimensions, right? And so, oh my gosh, people, stop messaging me. So, basically, in each moment, like we are deciding what reality we are experiencing, only mostly we're doing it like subconsciously. And it makes me wonder, like, because basically physical reality is a creation of our subconscious thoughts, okay? And when we awaken to whatever we want to experience, like when someone gets a new idea or something, it's like it becomes part of our reality. And so it makes me wonder back to like when people, I know there's still some people that believe it, but like when people believed that the world was flat, like globally, like people believe that. It makes me wonder if the world really was flat. Like if you were to be someone back then in that time and say someone were to be able to zoom you out and look at it, if that's what you would see. And the reason why I say that is because say that the flat earth was like a nesting doll inside the round earth. And when someone started to become aware of the round earth, that's when other people started to become aware of that reality, and that reality was the reality that began to appear to the consciousness of people on the world, okay? And so basically that makes me wonder what is the next, like, what the next dimension of reality that we haven't explored yet, or at least that we're not aware of, right? But what it's like, and yeah, I just wonder what it's like. What's the next dull dimension reality that we're currently unaware of physically, but we can become more and more aware of it. And it doesn't mean that, oh, all of a sudden it's going to be like suddenly different. And I mean, there could be something sudden, but I'm not saying that, that's what it's going to be, like this big chop in time and we're going to all of a sudden, well, I guess some people believe in like the rapture and stuff, but I'm just saying like it, yeah, I don't know. I just wonder. But anyway, so everything and anything is all right here. So back to what I was originally talking about with the tarot. Because I expect it to show me my current story and the path the energy is currently flowing, it does. Because I'm in the beginning of understanding how extremely like powerful my beliefs are in creating my reality, they are more and more. And which is like freaky as fuck when it first starts happening, and kind of made me feel like I was losing my goddamn mind, like honestly. Because like your cells in your body, your chemicals in your body, like everything has a vibration. And like every cell has a memory. Like the patterns that you've got set in your subconscious are set in like your body and around you, right? And so when you start to become aware of that, like to just all of a sudden change all of that, I don't know how to do that. I'm not saying it's not possible. I don't know how to do that. Just all of a sudden do that. I'm not saying, but I'm saying that it's possible. But I'm just saying, like, I started becoming aware of like a lot of the things that were in my subconscious, but didn't know how to stop it. And so then I would see it and then it would happen. And then I'd be like, what the fuck? Because I couldn't stop it. It was like watching myself stand in front of a train. Okay. And, but it made me like realize that the amount of power that I have and that each person has, but they're just unaware of it. That's why we hurt each other. And it's like when you start to become aware of it, you start to realize how much responsibility that is. and like how you are responsible for your reality. Like, I'm responsible for my reality in the world I experience, in the world around me, because everything's a reflection of what's me. And I can't blame it on outside external things, because those outside external things are reflecting what's inside of me. Now, we can have compassion on ourselves and compassion on each other because we're unaware of it. It's kind of like, when you find out you did something really wrong that you didn't know was wrong, and how like you were like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Like, it's kind of like that feeling. So like, don't be hard on yourself, but just learn from it. Like, use it as like something to take wisdom from. So with the tarot and the oracle cards, I can gain insight because I can clearly see like the pattern, because it shows up there, the outside pattern in the stories, and it helps me identify the inside pattern, which like the creator that I am, I'm awakening to my power as a conscious creator, and I can begin to see my physical reality the way I want to see, which is like a healed world, one based on love for all. And as I wake up to me in everything I see. And it changes your perspective on a lot of things and people, and how you react to people and the world around you. So, but that's it. That's intermission.